That Pennsylvania, again, will be a battleground state. And I intend to be here. I intend to campaign here. I intend to win here with your help. And many of my fond memories of the Army-Navy games that I came here to this great city and made a significant economic input, my entire midshipman's pay, and a moment of seriousness, the hospitality that the people of the Philadelphia area show to the midshipmen and the cadets from West Point on an annual basis is a wonderful thing, and it certainly is something that my son, who's at the Naval Academy, appreciates as much as I did, and my father and my grandfather, to be honest with you. By the way, my son at the Naval Academy, I was very worried about for a while because he had no demerits. He could not have been a son of mine. I had to do a DNA check on the boy. And my old company officer from the Naval Academy, as many of you know, in full disclosure, I stood 5th from the bottom of my class. If my old company officer, Marine Captain, were here today, he'd say in America anything is possible. So, thank you for being here. Talk to our veterans in a minute, but I would remind you, in abridging John's remarks a little bit, it doesn't take a lot of talent to get shot down. I was able to intercept a surface air missile with my own airplane, which is no mean feat. My friends, as you may have noticed, we were up very late last night in the United States Senate casting votes, and it affirmed again what I believe it was Mr. Bismarck years ago said, the two things you never want to see made are laws and sausages. And last night, as we were voting on major issues of profound consequences with no debate, no discussion, and 10 minutes to vote, and then moving on to another one. Anyone who had the misfortune of watching it will know that how hard it is trying to do the Lord's work in the city of Satan, my friends. And so, and they had a number of votes, but the important thing is that there's gridlock in Washington. You know it as well as I do. And the first thing I want to commit to you, I will wage a respectful campaign, but a vigorous campaign against whoever the Democrat opponent is, either Senator Obama or Senator Clinton. But I want to tell you there's stark differences, and we'll talk about those as we go forward. But I want to tell you also, I'll change the culture in Washington. I know how to reach across the aisle and work with the other side, but you have to demand that they work with me. And so I want to talk to you just a couple of things. One, of course, is the economy. We all know that America's hurting now. We know that there's great challenges and difficulties that families are facing all over this country, including this great state of Pennsylvania. We know there are people that are losing their homes. We know that people have lost their jobs in the manufacturing sector with very little hope of getting back into gainful employment and meaningful ways of taking care of themselves and their families and improving their lives and that of their children. Let's be very straight here. And every time we pick up the newspaper, we hear of a new challenge. Well, my friends, that's not what America's all about. But let me also begin by saying the fundamentals of our economy are strong. We are still the greatest exporter, the greatest importer, the greatest innovator, the strongest economy, the strongest nation in the world. So I believe our economic future is bright, and we will remain the leader in the world. But right now, we've got to take some steps which are very, very necessary. And the first thing we want to do is not raise your taxes. So the tax cuts have to be permanent. We need to make, as I said, we need to make those tax cuts permanent. We need to find ways to even reduce your burden even more. Many Americans don't know that the highest corporate taxes in the world, the second highest, are paid by United States corporations. Corporations leave America, take jobs with them. We need to cut those corporate taxes so corporations will find it most profitable to stay here in the United States of America. There's many steps. We need to have depreciation over 1 year. We need to eliminate this thing called the alternate minimum tax, which many Americans don't even know about. which was designed, my friends, to for only a handful of people, of the wealthiest Americans. Now it threatens 25 million American families. We have a two-tiered system. We'll be coming forward in the days and weeks ahead with more and stronger proposals to try to fix this economy, and I'm sure that we can. But I also want to talk to you about the displaced worker for a moment. My friends, because of the loss of manufacturing jobs, there are workers who have lost their jobs. I don't have to tell anybody in this room how tough that is. Younger people and older people who all their lives had these high-paying jobs have now lost them. Well, we can't leave these people behind. My friends, we have to have education and training programs that work. Here's a little straight talk. There are half a dozen federal programs today. None of them work. None of them work. They were designed for the 50s when there would be an economic downturn, somebody would be out of a job, the economy would come back, they'd get the job back. We're in a new technology revolution here, and it's called the information technology revolution. My friends, today, 50,000 people make a living off of eBay. But if you're not trained and equipped to take part in this new information technology revolution, you're going to be left behind. We're not going to leave any workers behind, my friends. We're going to care for those displaced workers. And one of the ways we're going to do it is we're going to go to the community colleges, one of the strongest part of America's education, and say to these community colleges, design and implement education and training programs so that these individuals in these community colleges know the job needs and the environment so that they can have a second chance. My friends, there's a lot of other things we need to do, and I'll be glad to discuss this with you because it is the #1 issue. And I've been involved in issues affecting America's economy since Ronald Reagan came to the presidency, and a lot of people in this room may remember when Ronald Reagan came to the presidency, inflation was 10%. Interest rates were 20%. The numbers were astounding. And we cut taxes and we reduced government and we reduced spending and we embarked on one of the strongest economic periods in American history. And so what did we do? We let spending get out of control. We Republicans came to power in 1994 to change government, and government changed us, and we went on a spending spree. My friends, it will stop. The spending spree will stop. Pork barrel and earmark projects have got to stop. But my friends, let me just tell you, Ronald Reagan used to say, he used to have a line that I've stolen from him where he used to say, Congress spends money like a drunken sailor, only I never knew a sailor drunk or sober with the imagination of members of Congress. And I'm not making this up when I tell you some months ago I received an email from a guy that said, as a former drunken sailor, I resent being compared to members of Congress. So last night, my friends, we had a vote on a proposal to have a moratorium, a moratorium on pork barrel projects, which, by the way, in the last 2 years, there was $36 billion in earmark and pork barrel projects on these massive spending bills. Now, we could have had a $1,000 tax credit for every child in America for that $36 billion, or a bridge to nowhere in Alaska for $233 million to an island with 50 people on it. And pork barrel projects, my friends, well, so last night we had a vote on an amendment. You know how many votes that it got in of just a pause, a moratorium on these earmark projects? There's 100 members of the United States Senate. They got 29 votes. They got 29 votes, my friends. 6 Democrats. And so the moral of the story is there's only one place left in America that they don't get it. They don't get it. That pork barrel spending is out of control and Americans want it stopped, and that's in our nation's capital. And I want to tell you as president, we will veto those bills and we'll stop it.